Greetings, all gallant sailors on YouTube. Welcome to Abyssal Recap. Today we will continue our bald but bold series with the sequel of The Mechanic 2011, called Mechanic Resurrection. Spoilers alert. Buckle up and take care. Since faking his own death, Arthur Bishop has been living quietly in Rio de Janeiro under the name Santos. One day, he is approached by a courier, Renee Tran, who knows his true identity and explains that her employer wishes Arthur to kill 3 targets and stage their deaths as accidents. Or she will expose Arthur by leaking the footage of him surviving the car explosion years ago. Arthur doesn't fall into her stake at all. Instead, he takes a photograph of her to identify who she is, which triggers the guards flooding in. He manages to fend off the guards with various props at the scene. But seeing more guards coming, he escapes by jumping onto a glider. After getting rid of Tran, he sneaks back and explodes his yacht in case anyone finds trace about him. Then head to Thailand. There, he takes shelter at the resort island beach house of his friend, May, and learns that Tran is working for Ria Crane, an old friend of his. Some days later, a bruised woman, Gina Thornton, appears at May's resort for first aid before returning to a boat anchored nearby. At night, May sees her being beaten by a man aboard the boat and alerts Arthur. But Arthur acts callously, thinking it would be a setup, while May insists on going in. To protect May, Arthur agrees on the rescue. Together, they rescue Gina, but in the scuffle, the man's head hits a bollard and dies. Arthur searches for evidence of the man's identity in vain, then sets the boat ablaze. While May tends to Gina's injuries, Arthur finds that Gina is also connected to Crane, and concludes that Crane anticipated Arthur would develop relationship with her. Crane would then kidnap her to make Arthur take the assassination jobs. On being confronted with his theory, Gina reveals that Crane had threatened the children's shelter in Cambodia that she runs unless she participated. Over the next few days, Arthur pretends to be in love with Gina to lure Crane out, but ended up truly falling in love with her. As expected, Crane's mercenaries arrive and abduct them. Crane keeps Gina as hostage to ensure Arthur completes the assassinations. The first target is a warlord named Krill, held in a Malaysian prison. Arthur begins to formulate his plan to make a gum bomb with fuse hidden in cigarettes, he also disguised as a wanted man, so that the police would arrest him and put him in jail. Inside the prison, he gains Krill's trust by killing a traitor who attempts to kill Krill. Krill invited him for a private conversation for appreciation. He then kills Krill himself by choking him. He also posed the corpse praying to temporarily deceive the guards. Later in chaos, Arthur rapidly inserts the gum bomb and fuse onto the wall to blow his way out. He applies anti-shark ointment before jumping into the water. With the locator device, Crane's operatives soon find him and help him escape. The next target is Adrian Cook, a Sydney-based billionaire and former trafficker of underage sex workers. He lives on the top floor of the building, in which there were 1-meter-thick concrete and alarm devices. But he also had an overhanging pool, which could be a point of interest. Then, Arthur contacts a housing agent and pretends to buy the apartment below the pool. There, he bypasses the tight security of Cook's penthouse, breaks the glass at the bottom of his overhanging pool, using a tube containing chemicals that cause the glass to crack, sending him plummeting to death like flushing a poop off the toilet. While relaying details of the third target, Crane allows Arthur to speak to Gina, who repositions the camera, enabling Arthur to identify Crane's boat. The guard finds out Gina's intention, immediately shuts down the stream. Judging from the ship number, Arthur attempts a rescue. He successfully wipes out some guards on the boat, but Crane knew Arthur would be coming and thwarts his rescue, urging him to continue on his assassinations. The final target is Max Adams, an American arms dealer in Varna, Bulgaria. While planning his attempt, Arthur realizes that the targets are Crane's major competitors in arms dealing. Maybe he could tilt the scale if he manages to persuade Max helping him. He sneaks into Max's fortress by hiding in a medical chopper, and makes his way into the elevator silo after interfering the security cam. He then sabotages the elevator with a grenade, forcing Max retreating to the vault. There, he finally met Max in person. However, instead of killing him, Arthur warns him of Crane's plan and recruit his help. Max surprisingly agrees to assist. He asks Arthur to fake his death in an accidental submarine explosion. Then they bail out underwater. Arthur then reports to Crane, directing him to the submarine to find Max's corpse. After settling Max, Arthur dives back to the submarine. To greet Crane's troopers, he deploys numerous booby traps. Few moments later, the troop comes as expected. They gradually getting killed either by the mounted machine gun, wired explosives, or Arthur's bullseye marksmanship. He single-handedly decimates Crane's mercenaries, then makes for Crane's boat anchored nearby. On the boat, he fights off more of Crane's men and rescues Gina. But he also discovers the boat is rigged with explosives. For Gina's safety, he puts her into emergency pod to leave first. Then there goes more mercenaries. Arthur continues on overpowering them before facing Crane. Somehow, Crane is no better than his mobs. He was tied by Arthur with a metal chain. Time is ticking. The bomb explodes, killing Crane and seemingly Arthur. Gina is rescued from the pod. While Max returns to the dock deploring Arthur until a surveillance camera catches his attention. Months later, Gina returns to Cambodia and continues her teaching duties. But she is surprised when Arthur turns up there as well. Max discovers how Arthur survived. Again, from the cam footage, he escaped in a watertight chain locker before the explosion. And walked out when it was salvaged. He destroys the evidence as a token of gratitude for sparing his life, and enabling him to monopolize the arms trade, by taking market share from Arthur's main victims. That's the end of today's video. If you do enjoy watching it, feel free to leave a like and consider to subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Abyssal signing out.